Hello everyone, this video will cover Module 1. So each week I try to record a short video that just kind of goes over the new assignments for that week. A lot of students find it very helpful, and I actually end up answering their questions as I'm going through the video, and so then they don't have to send me an email. I highly recommend watching these just to give you kind of a grounding into what we're doing and why we're doing it each week. So obviously new class starting in. I will try and get this image to show up. It's just the banner for the class and it's locked in it. I can't fix it anyway, but my information is down here at the bottom. So I have my phone number, which it actually comes to my computer since I'm a remote employee. I get my phone on the computer, comes to me, but I also have put my cell phone on here as well for texting. Please don't call my cell phone. I won't answer it. I have two small children. I don't answer my phone unless I know who's calling me. So then the first thing you want to do when you get into the class is start off with the syllabus. So you want to get into the syllabus. We use this simple syllabus program that just gives you everything that you need for the syllabus pretty easily, and you can go through the whole thing. Everything's, it'll look the same for all your classes. None of the due dates are in here for the assignment. Once you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you want to click on Acknowledge. I can see who did this and who didn't, and also how much of the syllabus you looked at. So it's really important that you go all the way down to the bottom. Once you're done with that, you want to get into the modules and start looking at the course content. So if this is your first Allen class, make sure that you click on Getting Started and go through like how to access your Allen email, how to get into the portal, all of that. If this is not your first Allen class, you've likely looked at all of that before, then you want to make sure that you can access the textbook. So we are using a Cengage textbook through Cengage Unlimited. When you click on this e-textbook link, it'll pull up the new Heartbrace Guide. This is our primary textbook for the class, and I've also included a handbook. If you want to take a look at that, you can. That's solely for your own resources. It's not required. If you click on Vital Source, I actually don't know if there's a book in here. I'm not sure why we have this link, but there may be a copy of Rules for Writers in there, which was a Comp 1 book, and you're more than welcome to use that as well. It's just another handbook. Again, there's no readings from it for the quizzes. It's just there for your use if you need it. The new Heartbrace Guide, however, also has a handbook in it. So we have plenty of stuff for you, plenty of resources. So this book is, a lot of the information is going to be about rhetorical situations, looking at rhetoric, looking at choices, looking at, how do authors put together their writing, how do authors create argument, that kind of thing. And so for the first couple of assignments, we'll be really heavily using this, and then we'll get into research. And so that part of the class, you'll be really looking at a lot of these strategies for finding good sources, evaluating good sources. There's a whole part which I can't find at the moment. You'll be able to see a lot of the different things that you probably were exposed to in Comp 1, but we're really going to get into a lot more in Comp 2. So that's just something to keep in mind. The other thing I like to remind students is, because this is a summer class, we are going double time. So basically a full semester class is 16 weeks and with a break, with a week break. This is 8 weeks with a week break. So all of your modules are basically 2 modules combined into 1. So it is going to be a challenge for some of you, especially some of these weeks will be pretty rough. So just keep that in mind. You want to I would schedule specific time to work on this class each week, so that way you get it done. And I'll talk about that more in a minute, but just kind of keep that in mind. So the first thing that you need to do after you've accessed the textbook, access the syllabus, now you need to go through the academic honesty module, because if you don't, module 1 will not unlock. And so you need to make sure you leave yourself time to do that, otherwise you can't access the assignment. So you want to start with the beginning. You have to click on each page. Each page just has more information about academic honesty. Some of it will be review, some of it might be new information, what we consider cheating, what we consider plagiarism. So just kind of keep that in mind. This all falls under our academic honesty policy. All these things are things that can get you a 0 on an assignment, how to avoid it, and then a couple of scenarios that you can look at as well to just kind of give you a better idea of what might be considered a violation. And then I have some information on Turnitin, which is our plagiarism program, and the flags that you will see for major assignments. You'll see flags and what those mean. The only issue with Turnitin, it does have an AI detection part to it. You cannot see the AI detection report as a student, though. It is only for instructors to look at. I don't know why. And then I also have some information. That's why I have this page on information on AI generated writing, what's considered AI generated writing. And then I'll have some resources in here so you can check your own work. Basically, the main thing a lot of students have issues with using Grammarly. Grammarly is AI generated. If you accept every change that it suggests, your work will sound computer generated, because it is. So you want to make sure that if you are using a program like Grammarly, you are being very selective with the changes that you make. So, change those commas to be correct. That's fine. Don't change your sentence wording, the arrangement of sentences, especially if you're using the paid version of Grammarly. That's going to give you a lot more suggestions. All of those are computer generated. So just kind of keep that in mind. And then at the very end, you'll have this confirmation of understanding. If you don't mark it as done, then the first module will not show up for you. So as soon as I mark it as done, you'll notice module 1 appears. Module 1 has a lot of stuff going on. First of all, you have 2 introductory assignments. Should not take you very long. You're going to send me an email reflecting on your plan for the semester, some goals for the semester, strengths and weaknesses as a writer, that kind of thing. And then a discussion board where you introduce yourself to the class. So those are fairly standard. Then you'll do the readings. The Module 1 readings cover these chapters. I always link the chapters in, as well as you can use that big link at the top for the textbook. But this is just kind of nice, because then if you can only work on the class in short bits, then you can just do each chapter individually before you take the quiz. We'll have a lot of readings quizzes this semester. So do the readings quiz, and then you'll want to make sure that you understand. This page is just about understanding rhetorical analysis, because that's our first essay. The textbook has some information about it, but I just feel like you might want some additional resources to help you, because there is the books, I don't think, does the best job of explaining what we're doing. So for this first essay, you're choosing an article out of the book to write a rhetorical analysis of. So it's a fairly simple of assignment, but a lot of students make it more difficult than it is. And so then they get themselves into a situation where they don't meet the criteria for the assignment. The biggest mistake is students just give me a summary of it, or like they take the topic that the author uses and make their own essay about that topic. The purpose of this assignment is to analyze the rhetoric used. So you are breaking down the author's argument, analyzing strengths and weaknesses, using what we call the critical response and rhetorical analysis. So you want to examine things like the writer's situation. What techniques do they use? What kind of argument techniques do they use? Can you find the thesis? Is it clear what the thesis is? Are they using sources, or is it mostly personal experience? If they use sources, what kind of sources do they include? What kind of appeals do they use to the audience? That's ethos, logos, and pathos, which you may have been exposed to before. So there's a lot of stuff that you can look at, and a lot of that comes out of the textbook. And so you want to make sure that you're using those chapters. To find a work to respond to, you'll want to make sure that you are down here in part 5. There is a whole section on real situations for real writing, a thematic reader, and it just goes through, there are several chapters with different articles in it. So if you want to do food and the cultural experience of taste, Then you click on the next one, Margaret Mead's The Changing Significance of Food. This is one article. So this is just the title page, but this is the article that you're responding to. Most of them have some analyzing questions afterward, and that might help you with your analysis. So you can see this one's fairly short. And so they're not terribly long. Sometimes the longer the article, the easier it is to do this because it will give you more stuff to write about. So it's up to you. It's 1.5 to 2 pages. Most students will get 4 or 5 paragraphs out of it. You know, introduction, conclusion, 2 or 3 body paragraphs. That's all you really need. It's not supposed to be a lengthy essay. A couple of other things in here as I run out of time. Online Writing Lab link if you want to get some feedback on your essay. Works cited page. This is what it's going to look like. You can literally copy and paste this straight into your essay. Don't make any changes other than author, title, and page number. Okay, you can just copy and paste it. You don't have to worry about trying to create it on your own. MLA formatting requirements, and then this is an optional assignment if you would like to turn in an outline for me to look at before the end of the module. You're welcome to do that. Just if you turn it in, you could also email me a copy if you want. It's not worth any points or anything. And then rhetorical essay, analysis essay, this is where you turn it in. So you can see the grading rubric that I'll use, the requirements for formatting, link back to the criteria sheet so you don't forget, that kind of thing. So lots of stuff to think about, a lot of stuff going on in this first module. If you have questions, please send me an email. Otherwise, have a great week.